All right, well, welcome everyone. My name is Jana Saylor, and I'm the founder and artistic director of the Allegra Chamber Orchestra, which is an all-female orchestra dedicated to social action through music. And today's workshop, Getting Paid to Have Your Music Played, is co-presented by the Allegra Chamber Orchestra Composer Incubator Project and SOCAN. Before we begin, I'd just like to acknowledge that I am coming to you from the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, that is the Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, and Tsuut'ina Nakota Nations and Métis Nation Region 3, currently known as Calgary, Alberta, and we welcome you from wherever you are joining us from. Special welcome to our members of the Composer Incubator Project that are going through this 5-month program with us, and we're really looking forward to the world premieres of their works in June. So stay tuned, watch our website and Facebook pages for more info on that. We're getting closer and closer, which is really, really exciting. And this set of professional development workshops is available to the public as part of our community outreach. And it would not be possible without the support of Vancouver Cultural Services and the BC Arts Council, so we gratefully acknowledge their support. So thank you so much. I'm delighted to welcome our workshop guest today from SOCAN, as mentioned, and this is Julien Boumard Coallier. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes,
All
perfect.
right, perfect. That's a win. And I will turn it over to Julienne. I feel that as an artistic director and concert presenter, this is rights and copyright and royalties is something that I'm constantly learning more about. So I look forward to exploring that and also what the implications of COVID on these presenting fees and you as an artist and creator and composer, and the benefits of aligning yourself with SOCAN and informing yourself of the great services that they offer. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Julienne. Thank you so much and welcome.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here with you and to take part in this great program. So I've been at actually I work at the SOCAN Foundation. And so I mean the foundation is part of SOCAN, of course, and we work very closely with SOCAN and the different departments. I am the grant manager there, and so I think I'll have, of course, some. I'll be able to share some information about SOCAN and royalties and how to get paid. But I think there's also great opportunities and ways to really develop your career with the foundation, with grants, programs, awards that we work with and that we offer to the SOCAN community and the composers. First of all, I see myself in very big here on the screen. I'm going to try and change that. Okay, I get it.
Oh, I highlighted you just so we on the workshop. If you'd prefer.
Oh, did I change something on the?
No, I did, but I can.
Okay.
If you would prefer you not be spotlighted, I can change that as well.
I changed it back. I'm just wondering if it changes anything on your side. It doesn't, right?
No.
Okay. Now it's perfect. Yeah, it's good
Okay,
like that.
great.
All right. So actually, we have Marie-Alice. Hi, Marie-Alice. And Palas with us. I'd like to know a little bit about you guys, actually, to be able to maybe know you and get a sense of your profile, and maybe that will help me guide you through the different information and possibilities we have at SOCAN and the foundation. You want to start?
Sure. Sure, I can go first. So I'm relatively new to composing music, just in the last 4 or 5 years. Before that, I was involved in music teaching and performing, but have kind of veered a little bit towards creative work. which has been really great and rewarding and really fantastic. So I haven't really done a lot. I mean, a little bit of research into ways to kind of protect and promote my work and obviously earn from performances because I'm still quite new in getting my foot in the door in that kind of area. I did, um, I've got the SOCAN registration process in the works. I haven't finalized it yet with that final contract, but it is like on my to-do list. And I think where I'm at with that is I have to just decide what agency in the United States to decide, and then go from there. So I kind of I'm just waiting on a little bit of research with that. But yeah, I'm curious to know. Obviously, I'm interested in some of the grants and awards and opportunities. I've read a little bit about those, so learning more from you for that in that area would be really beneficial for me. Um, as well as again, just promoting and protecting and learning how to, I guess, reap the rewards of my work in a professional realm.
Great. Thank you.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Palace. I just finished my master's in composition here at UBC, and I'm going to be starting my doctorate in the fall. I'm not really, I do know a bit about SOCAN, but I'm kind of sort of making the transition from being like a student composer to now like having, 2 degrees down and trying out to be like, I'm going to be like, I need to transition into the professional realm.
Great. Thank you.
Sorry about that. We just had Brittany join us. So hi, Brittany, just to bring you up to speed, we're just going person to person, and just if you'd like to participate, you're welcome to. Um, Getting Julienne, our guest today, a little bit of information on who you are and what you do, and so that he can perhaps give you some recommendations on what programs and that would benefit you. So you're welcome to pop on and introduce yourself if you wish.
Hi everyone, my name is Brittany. I've started composing around last year, June of last year. So I'm pretty new to all of this stuff. I'm currently in high school, so far from professional.
Great. Hi, Brittany. Nice to meet
Hi.
you. Okay, thank you. That's actually very helpful. To start off, I like to say that in terms of getting paid for the music you create, SOCAN is usually, and maybe you'll hear that from someone else as well, because I've heard it from someone else, but SOCAN usually sends you the first check you'll ever receive for your music creation and the last one, and that's part of why SOCAN is important for the music creators, and why you should, if you create music, you should register with the organization in order to get your royalty payments, because no matter, I mean, if you register your work, who knows what can happen and how long you can get payments for that, and it's a very good habit to keep your account updated with your works, and to register your works, so that when the time comes, you get the money you will earn with your creation. Are you SOCAN members? I mean, Marie-Alice, you said that you are a member. Palas, you're not. And Brittany, are you a member of SOCAN?
No, I'm not.
You're not. Okay. So it's pretty easy and straightforward to become a member. First of all, it is free. It's very important to know that. SOCAN is the organization that makes sure you are paid for the music that is played publicly. That means concerts, but also radio stations, anything, even like TV, film. Then there's another pool of royalties that is coming from um, um, community radios, and just like online, like the line when you're like a waiting line on phone. Anywhere where there's music, people are paying licenses to be able to play that music, and it creates a small pool of money that is redistributed afterwards. That being said, it's not the that's not where the most of the money will come. It's mostly with the concerts and the radio stations. So important, become a member. It's free. The SOCAN uses, I don't want to say the wrong numbers, but I think it's between 8 or 10% for operations, general operations for the industry. This is why it's free. And once you register, it's very important to register your works so that SOCAN can actually match what. The easiest example for me is a concert. So SOCAN can match what they receive from the venue or the concert, the producer, with notification of live music, match that with what's in the system, and be able to pay the music creator. So register your work, and afterwards, if it's not the producer or the venue that does it, you need to submit a set list. And I've talked to a lot of people that do that create pop music. So they will, I don't know if it's your situation, but in pop music, people will tend to book shows on their own and go play in small venues, and have a lot of like go on a tour, have a lot of different small venues, and a lot of them don't submit their playlist, and they just don't think about it, or they forget, and they don't get paid for their works that they played themselves. Because important to know that when you get hired to play a concert and it's your composition, if someone hires you, they are hiring you to perform, but there's also a fee that's going to SOCAN in order to play your composition publicly, and that is different. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Then, so on an international level, what's interesting also about SOCAN is that the royalties, I think we're one of the only PRO, performing right organization, that doesn't have a fee, doesn't take a fee or like a percentage of the royalties for international royalties, which is a big deal when you, for any kind of reason, your music is played abroad. It's a very, very big advantage. And I know that SOCAN and everybody here is very proud of that. And it's one of the reasons why SOCAN, why you should be a member of SOCAN as well. What can I tell you? There's, with the creators themselves, SOCAN has a team of A&Rs. And I'll probably be able to give you the email address. There's one in Vancouver. His name is Utan. There's a team in Toronto. There's a new person in Montreal. I'm based in Montreal, by the way. And there's a team of A&R whose job is to really be there to help members, to, if they can, redirect them to different people for different opportunities. It's really, SOCAN, in that sense, SOCAN is really an ally to the music creators, because they are, with the royalties, we're kind of in the middle of that whole community and scene, because we deal with the artists, but we also deal with the producers, the venues, record labels, and it's easy for a team like the A&R team at SOCAN to help you even if it's just to give you some tips, even if it's to connect you with people somewhere else. There's SOCAN houses. I was going to say around the world, not exactly, but and it's not the best time to talk about traveling. But there's a SOCAN house in Paris, one in LA. We also have an office in LA, and there's one in Nashville, and that's really for the members to use. So if there's some criterias, but if you have a good reason to go in one of these cities, and you request to stay at the SOCAN house, there's a fee, of course. It's not free, but it's a small fee, and yeah, it's there for you. So it's really to support the members that are traveling for business or
Yeah,
doing
if I could add to
promo.
that, my partner and I have used the one in LA, and
Oh,
it's a
great.
wonderful place to stay and connect with other, like it's like a hotel basically, and I mean, it's full of other artists, so you meet wonderful people, and when on your way in and out, and yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay. Actually, I don't know what it looks like. The one in LA, I know the one in Paris is more like an apartment, but in
Okay.
LA, it's an hotel with different.
Well,
You're
I
gonna
mean, the hotel kind of aspect, but it is more of
right, right.
a house. But
Okay,
yeah, no,
great.
it's really handy, and not that
Do
far.
you remember why did you like what brought you to LA? Maybe it's a good example to give.
Yeah, so my partner is a film and video game composer,
Okay,
and he was there for a conference,
okay.
and I mean, I tagged along.
Yeah, but there you go. Exactly. No, exactly. That's
Yeah.
a good example.
Cuts down on your expenses, and yeah, you can network at the same
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Something else that is possible at SOCAN and in different PROs is advances. And I won't be able to say too much about that because I work mostly at the foundation, but that's something that's possible. And it's there to help members when they need funds for projects or just in general. And I think that SOCAN members usually get advances when there's a project uh, on the way, but they just don't have sufficient funds right now to push that project forward. So there's advances is one of SOCAN's tool, and it's something that's possible. I think you have to show that there's been some revenues in the past, and that in order to show also that revenues are going to come along the way. But it's an interesting advantage for sure. Yeah.
Could I just ask a question specific to, I mean, maybe more specific to our organization and this project coming up? With the live streaming, that's what this project is going to be. How does that work with, yeah, with registering with SOCAN? Is it and with this project? So I'd like to encourage all of the composers that are participating to register for SOCAN, so then we can pay them. But I'm not quite sure, for this first live stream performance. But I'm not quite sure how we pay that out, and what the criteria is for live streaming and things. Would you
Right.
mind spending a moment on that?
Of course, no, great question. So there's going to be an online concert.
Yes, online.
Okay, yeah. For online concerts, I mean, there's a lot of information, and some of it has changed over the year because of the pandemic and what happened and whatnot. But if it's a live concert, I know there's some numbers that you need to. I don't have the numbers in mind. Maybe I can find it quickly. But if you're playing that music publicly online, there is a fee that will apply to your organization that you would need to pay. I don't know how much. Is it a free event?
It is, yes.
Okay, so free events might be. I know it's a little bit different. The fee might be lower. but basically you would have to pay a SOCAN fee to be able to play that music online, and you would have to submit, and I say you, I mean probably the producer. The organization produces the concert, I believe.
Yes.
With a set list, with the composers. That's actually a good exercise if you're not a SOCAN member yet for the composers. And then, like I said, SOCAN, people at SOCAN, there's like a whole team for that, will match the information they receive. Actually, it's not SOCAN, it's Entendem. And just a few words about that, because the SOCAN fees, we still call them SOCAN fees. They should be called Entendem fees now, because it used to be just one organization sending the royalties to the creators and receiving the payments from venues, from restaurants, from any kind of like shops in the streets or whatever. Right. But now it's called Entendem. So Entendem collects that money, sends it to SOCAN in a pool, and then it gets redistributed. Right. So you would have to pay the SOCAN fee to Entendem, and then people there would match the set list, the notification of live music, that's the real term, I think. They will match that with the works that are registered at SOCAN under your name, your I don't know, like Palace or Maria Alice, and then they would right. That's how it would work. Okay. In terms of amounts and like I said, numbers, I'm not.
Yeah, I'll call you guys and we'll get it sorted for sure. But that's just a little added incentive to folks in this program. Like, you can get your first little like SOCAN check from this performance.
And at first it might not be a lot, but again, and I will never be able to say that enough, but it's just the best habit to as soon as you have something, as soon as you create something and it's ready to go public or you're ready to play it or whatever, register it to SOCAN. And even if you don't declare any public performance of your work, or nothing goes through Entendem and to SOCAN, but it gets played for some reason on a TV show in Germany, and for some reason you don't even know about that, there's ways to go back in time and get that money too. I don't know if it's, depending on the situation, it can be 1 year or 3 years, I think. And I also think it has changed. So I don't want to say, I don't want to give you the wrong information, but it is something that's possible. And that's why also, I think if the work is not registered at SOCAN, in that case, it's not possible. But if it's registered and it never matched, or the SOCAN never received the information, for example, then they can go back and pay you, but you need to register the work. Other example that I might use to transition towards SOCAN Foundation. It's about the royalty payments. We created at the foundation a relief fund, and for the relief fund, there's criteria. One of the criteria is to have received. It's to have received 2 payments, no matter what the amount is, but 2 payments every year for the last 3 years. I understand it might not apply for you since some of you are not even are not a member yet, but it's just another example of why it would be important to be a member for reasons like that. I mean, this is a little bit specific to the foundation, but I mean, the amount doesn't even matter. It's just to show that with either the composer is still working and is still doing music, or the works are still living in some way.
Like Brittany has her hand up, so whenever you have a chance.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah.
Oh, I had a question. So is SOCAN only applicable to Canadians, or if you live in Canada?
You mean to become a member?
Yeah. So, for example, or in the future, if I decide to move to somewhere else.
No, you can. No. You can stay with SOCAN, and so SOCAN and all the other organizations that do the same thing as SOCAN, there's usually at least one in every country. You've probably heard of BMI, ASCAP, SACEM in France, GEMA in Germany. Anyways, there's a lot, and there's like they do business together. So if a German artist lives here and decided to stay with GEMA in Germany, but lives here and plays shows around Canada, SOCAN will collect the royalties and send them back to GEMA, the organization in Germany, and the organization in Germany will be able to pay the artist. And it's the same thing. Like it works also the other way around. If a Canadian decide, or one of you is a member and decide to move anywhere, you will still get that money through SOCAN. So you can, you don't have to live in Canada, if that, to answer your question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, any questions? Like, I didn't see the when Brittany raised her hand, but
yeah, it's really subtle, isn't it? It's not terrible.
Yeah,
Sorry, Brittany, we didn't mean to ignore you.
Quick question, if that's all right. We can save it for later too, if you already have planned to talk about it. But I'm just wondering about when you're collaborating with other artists, for example, using someone's poem for a work that you're setting, let's say, to music, and they're a living poet. So you want to share royalties, obviously, that you would get from any kind of performances. How would you go about doing that? And are you the one that kind of sets, like, are you and the other artist the one sets those royalty shares, or is there already a kind of like a prescribed template?
That's an excellent question, by the way, but it really comes down to what you decide and what you agree on with whoever the collaborator is. From my experience, I think most of the time it's 50-50 between, let's say, lyrics, text, and music. And again, that's maybe more the case in pop music. But I wouldn't be surprised if you decide to create a piece and use a poem, but the poem is really subtle and you only use part of it. It would be up to you to talk to the poet and or the writer, and just to decide to, decide between you two what's a fair share of the piece. Yeah. And to hi.
Werner just joined. Hi, Werner. Do you want to go through the same process with him as you did with the others?
Yes, of course. Hi, Werner. I'm Julienne. I work at the SOCAN Foundation, and I was telling. I was giving information about SOCAN, the royalties, how to make sure you get paid, how to register at SOCAN, become a member, register your works, how all of that was working, and we went around the table and everybody was giving some background information about themselves. So do you want to talk a little bit about what you do, and are you a SOCAN member, for example?
I'm not a SOCAN member yet. I've always been interested in applying, and I am a composer pianist based in Toronto, and I mainly make a living through playing and teaching piano, but I also on the side try to doing more music composition through commissions and networking, and I think SOCAN could be a good network to start. And
Great, thanks. I was actually, so I talked a little bit about SOCAN. I was starting to talk about SOCAN Foundation. and I see that it's 3:35, and there's quite some information with the foundation and also interesting opportunities. I also see that my battery is low. Just give me 1 second.
All these new COVID, we have new COVID problems. And now a low battery is not just a low battery, it's a big problem.
Sorry about that. What was I saying? I was, oh yeah, there was a question about, share and how you decide on the shares. It's up to you. That's the bottom line. It's up to you. And I've seen like so many different scenarios. The best advice I could give you is, in the situation where you're using a poem, it's different because it's something that already exists. But in a situation where you're starting to collaborate with another music creator, it's not fun. It's not the best part of the creation. It's not sexy at all. But make sure you agree on the share as soon as possible, because there are so many fights about who's owning what, and you can you don't have to go through that if you agree on the shares. So yeah,
and get it in writing. That would be
get it in writing.
something I've learned.
Awesome. Also, like, is there a way to link your registrations so that when there is a split in the royalties, that it's done automatically, or do they obviously have to be a member of SOCAN, even if they're
Yes,
not?
correct. They have to be a member. Okay. That's another good question. Technical for me, because for example, I don't work on the SOCAN portal, but I think what happens is you have to agree. Let's say you give 50% to I don't know, John. John has to register the same work with the same split, and maybe Jenna has more experience on that side.
No, I don't.
Okay. sorry to put you on the spotlight. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Yeah.
I have a question. It's application to SOCAN. Could it be done through the website?
To become a member?
Yeah, is it done through the website?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I think there's a link somewhere on the website that brings you to the portal. It's a little bit different, but on the website, there's something that's probably my account or become a member. And what we hear at SOCAN is that it takes no more than 8 minutes to become a member. That's it's very straightforward. That's what I mean.
And Werner, Julienne was just mentioning that he'll send me some links that I can forward to all of you after the fact, so you can poke around on all those sites and links.
Yeah, so maybe if I can talk a little bit about the foundation and maybe some opportunities for you. The first one that comes to mind, especially for composers and also for organizations, and traditionally that program was kind of designed to benefit classical music organization, because it was a composer residency, which is something we see more often in classical music than in any other style. But it transformed into it's called work commissioning assistance. You can't apply for yourself, so it has to be an organization or an individual that is willing that wants to commission you for work. And what SOCAN does is that we match the funds if the funds are private funds and they are between $1,000 and $3,000. And we try to do that to encourage people to not necessarily move away from governmental funding, because that's great, but to diversify the funds they're using. So what we will see is, I don't know, X orchestra from Montreal wants to commission John again, and so we'll get an application from X orchestra, and they do I don't know, like the crowd fund for $2,000. They pay that to the composer, and after they submit a final report, we just take a look at that, we approve it, and we match the funds and send another $2,000 to the composer. And that's for some reason, it's not the most popular grant, because people, I don't know, maybe people don't know about the grant enough, and it doesn't have to come from like a music organization. It could be from independent movie director that really wants you to create the music for the film, but only has $1,000, and then you're like having second thoughts about it because it's not a lot and it's going to be a lot of work. If you mention that there's this program and they can apply pretty easily, it might be interesting for you and for the person or organization that wants to commission the work. And on top of that, we ask for an agreement that shows that the composer keeps the right of the piece, because that's really important for SOCAN. Any question about that program?
I have a question. Let's say as a young composer, because it's always extremely hard to get a start with so many established composers trying to get a world premiere. Let's say I get a world premiere from Vancouver Symphony Orchestra, like a concerto or like piano concerto. But their budget is limited, as always with orchestras. So let's say they only had budget to pay the musicians to play the world premiere, but they don't have any money to pay me to write the music. But they will play my piece. Like, I don't have to pay the orchestra to record the thing. What do you suggest? Like, what should I do as a composer? Do you have any suggestions? How do I get funding? That one you mentioned just now, that is a good one. But like in general, what advice do you have for a very young composer trying to tackle like with his first major commission for a major symphony orchestra, like, you know, or even overseas, you know, like maybe like London Symphony Orchestra or something, you know, sometimes these things happen, you know, like.
But you're saying, sorry, if you have a composition that an orchestra wants to play, but you're not playing in the orchestra, and they only want to play your piece, that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, like an orchestral season, like for example, like an orchestra needed a new piece premiere, like in their program. You know, some orchestras need a Canadian living composer to write a new piece.
Okay, it's to write a new piece. It's not something that's already existing.
Yeah, it's like a commission, like the orchestra, like for example, asked me a year in advance to write a composition, anything I want, but they only have the budget to get it rehearsed and get it played at the premiere, but like they don't have enough budget for me, or if I invite a soloist to play the composition, for example.
Yeah. Well, I think that program I was just telling you about, the work commissioning assistance. First of all, you have to be a SOCAN member. So two things, and maybe you weren't there at the beginning, so but you need to be a SOCAN member to access that program, and you need to be a SOCAN member to receive royalties when the piece is played publicly. And what I would do is, I think the argument of saying, well, look at this program, if you have between $1,000 and $3,000 and you're willing to pay me that, like an amount between 1,000 and 3,000, SOCAN Foundation will match that amount in order to commission me. And I think that really, first of all, that shows that you're proactive, that you're trying to find a solution, I believe, and that you can also tell them, because like I said, the application has to come from the organization or the individual that is commissioning. You can't say, okay, don't worry, I'll apply as as a composer. You can do that. What you could potentially do is tell them to create an account, write down the questions, and you actually help them even write the application. That's not a problem for us, because anyways the two parties have to agree. It's it's work. It shouldn't be that way for you anyways, but yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, so I'll be like, for example, like ask the orchestra to write an official commission letter. I think that would be important, and then
it's actually it's application form with like different sections and a budget section, and it's not very long, but it's not just a letter either.
Do I apply that as a composer, or do I tell the orchestra to apply?
You tell the orchestra to apply.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I
was just going to say, you'd probably have more luck with the smaller regional orchestras, or with that kind of approach, because they're more used to writing grants and bootstrapping their own projects. Generally, in my work with the larger orchestras, if they want to commission, they have money to commission, and from their various sources, so they don't generally need to engage in those kinds of grants. But I find these I've worked through with this program a number of times, and participated in organizations that had commissioned through this program, and it's fantastic for to get a commission and to get more new music out there for the first time, especially. And then I think probably you'll have a better time shopping it around to bigger orchestras once you have a recording, and have a couple performances under your belt, perhaps by smaller orchestras, like as you're mentioning, just trying to break into the scene. But yeah, this is a fantastic program, and I think not very many composers know about it. So you do have to bootstrap it to get your stuff out there, and this is one way of doing it.
It is true though, we composers will always get approached by like performers or organizations to write music for them, but like we composers, sometimes we get stuck like, well, where do we get the money, and most orchestras, they just barely surviving on standard repertoire. They're just putting one modern piece once in a while if they have the money. It's not like everyday thing.
The other thing we have, but there's an age limit. I don't know how old you are, but we have the Composer Award, all the names are very similar, but just a little bit different. Young Canadians, Young Composer Awards, and the Emerging Screen Composer Awards. It's the age limit is 30 years old. We receive a lot of applications, but there's also a lot of prizes, different prizes. So it's a good amount of money, and it's always worth it. If you can apply, it's always worth it. I'm just trying to think in terms of awards. The deadline is coming up. It's June 15, if you're interested. And we put together a jury of well-known composers from Canada. I was telling Jenna that we had Ronnie Sharman last year, with other composers, of course. But yeah, it's definitely worth a try, and you can always reapply. So it's a good opportunity. I realized I made a mistake earlier. I was telling you about the relief fund. Relief fund, you need to have received at least $500 in the last 4 distributions. And I haven't talked about distributions yet, but the royalties are distributed quarterly, so 4 times a year. And when I was mentioning something about royalties, about receiving 2 payments, no matter what the amount is, 2 payments every year for the last 3 years, that's the criteria for the professional development. And that's a very interesting program or grant, because it can be for self-directed activities. If you want to, learn new skills, whether it's an instrument, something to even that's related to your music career. So if you want to, I saw one application not too long ago about learning about music video editing, because they are willing to create videos for their new creation, and it will help them offset the cost of music video and all that. So anything, even I don't know, even finance or marketing, anything that you can tie to your career, it might be eligible.
Yeah, so one of our mentors, Farshid Samandari, Palas, I believe he's your mentor, is that correct? So he received one of these grants to go to Italy and study a very particular hybrid instrument that had been invented by an Italian maker a couple of years ago, and then he wrote a couple of pieces. So you might want to ask him about that and his process of applying, and you can maybe see what his successful application looked like.
Yeah, no, good point. Yeah,
but that made a number of compositions possible. So because he had to actually go and figure out what this instrument was about before he could write for it. So just thought I'd add that.
I'm going to take a quick look at our website, the foundation website, just to make sure I talked to you about the awards, talked to you about SOCAN, of course, royalties. I talked to you about the grants, professional development grant, relief fund. We also have programs that are a little bit more it's not just financial support. We have workshops, there's mentorship, and sometimes also like a startup grant, or something like that. And these programs, we have the Equity X production. Traditionally, it's applicants are usually more on the pop music side, because it's for producers. And it's really to have more female or female identified producer in the studios, because there's a research, and I can't remember the name of the research, that showed that I think it was in the top 40, there was 3% of female or female identified producers, which is really ridiculous. 3%, it's nothing. And so we decided it was very important for us to try to play a role in changing that situation. So that's why we created the equity and production. There's going to be one soon-ish, but if you're interested in it's with Ableton. So if you're interested in learning how to use Ableton, maybe just maybe use that already, or use any other software. That's it's a very, 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 very good program with great instructors too. There's going to be one in French in Quebec this year as well. The other one we have, and it's a little bit too bad because the deadline just passed and we're about to select the participant. It's the Incubator, Creative Entrepreneur Incubator, and it's to give the tools and the knowledge to the emerging music creators to really create a sustainable career for themselves. So it's related to music, of course, and there might be one-on-ones about music publishing, marketing online, and stuff like that. But it's also really to develop that entrepreneurship in you, if I can say that. So when I say that, it's usually independent artists that apply, people that want to have kind of some control over the team they are building, or just really understand the in and outs of the music industry and be able to navigate through the different organizations and spheres. And the other one that we are about to announce soon, just had a meeting about that. It's the formerly known scoring retreat that happened for the first time in 2019. It's now, the name has changed. It's now Screen Music Laboratory for Emerging Composers. It will be online this year, unfortunately, and for obvious reasons, but it's really to give like a kind of a real life experience of working with a film director and working in conditions that are that replicate like real life conditions. So a deadline, one-on-ones with the music directors, yeah, things like that, and having a mixing session, a spotting session at first to understand where the film director wants the music, what he wants exactly. So it's an interesting program, very specific to screen composition, but maybe you're interested in that as well, and you could. It's always good to have. I'm trying to translate a French expression, but anyways, yeah, forget about it. Yeah, so that's going to be, applications should open up in about a month. So yeah, that's the third program we have.
Yeah. Where can we find more info about that program?
On the SOCAN Foundation website. I think the easiest thing would be for me to send the different links I mentioned to Jana, and maybe we can share that afterwards. Yeah. And yes, just taking a look at it. Yeah. Any questions about? I mean, anything SOCAN, royalties, grants, programs. I hope everything was clear enough.
I used to live in Montreal for a little while. I did find contemporary music scene a little bit different. Like they tend to have a different system in Quebec.
Oh, really? In what way?
I mean, they tend to promote like a lot of Quebecer music. Like let's say what I heard, like if it's in Quebec, they have a money that for Quebec culture development. So if you present as a composer like a thematic piece that has origins of like French theme, or heard it's quite attractive for getting certain funding or support from the Quebec government, because the Quebec
classical music as well.
Oh yeah, Quebec government put a lot of money into classical music in Quebec. So like,
no, that I know. I'm asking because I know at Musique Action, for example, there's a specific focus to francophone music.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, francophone.
But if it's classical music without words or lyrics, I was just wondering. But maybe, yeah. I know there's quite a big scene of contemporary music and a big pool, a big community of screen composers as well.
Oh. And where are you based now, currently?
I'm in Montreal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah, well, if I could just, we'll just wrap it up. So I just from my personal experience with SOCAN, it's always been a great interaction with the representatives. They've always been really helpful. I find that the programs that they run are very relevant and very like in touch with what the community needs. So if I could just encourage you to, seek those out, have some conversations, send some emails, and like I said, I imagine they'll be more than happy to help you and connect
Yes.
you with some resources that you would need to, first of all, get started with the SOCAN and then be able to benefit from their from being a member. So great, thank you so much, Julienne. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks to you, and good luck with the rest of the program, because I know you're close to the end, I think.
We have about, almost exactly a month before our first workshopping sessions with the 6 mentees. So we have 2 of them here, Marialis and Palas. So that will be June 7th and 8th. And then we will move to formal rehearsals June 15th, 16th. And then we will be recording on the 22nd and then live streaming 25th to 27th. So lots of dates in there, but we'll keep you in the loop as to what's
Yes, please
happening.
do, because we're always interested about great initiatives like that.
Is there a rehearsal live stream possible for the?
We're going to try and live stream the workshops.
Yeah.
And we'll see about the rehearsals. So the workshops will be live streamed because not everybody's in Vancouver. So, and that's an important part of the process for sure. But I'll send that info out to the community, Warner, so that you have that info.
And how can if I want to get in touch with Julian like later on, is there a?
I'll send all the links I've talked about and my direct email address as well. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
And I'll send that out to the mentees and everyone in the community that's been attending.
Perfect.
Bravo! Thank you so much, Julienne. Much appreciation.
Thank you for having me.
Stay safe and stay
Yeah,
healthy.
you too. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.